little story about our trip to Carriacou. My son and daughter-in-law and 3 little boys came to Grenada, and we left Whisper Cove on the afternoon or in an early morning to sail up to Carriacou. No really exciting events getting out of the harbor, but after we got out the little ways, my engine controls jammed. Now this has happened 3 times before. I've replaced this device twice, and it seems to happen quite often. I'm not sure exactly why, but basically you can put it into a mode, but it won't change the gears on the transmission. And I'm used to doing that, so I've got kind of the down to the science of what to do when this happens. I basically go down, open up the engine room, disconnect the shifter from the engine, and manually shift it as needed. No big deal. So we sailed up to north along the Grenada coast, and winds were pretty good, but still kind of on the nose. It's pretty hard to get a direct course to Carriacou the way the winds blows out of the east. So anyway, as we were heading up north, it was getting late, and we decided to put the engine on and put it in gear and manually enter the harbor by the engine. Well, we didn't. We went in there, started the engine. It was getting kind of late, so started the engine and put it in gear. I went down to the transmission to put it in gear. Actually, it was in gear already, and but the engine would rev, but nothing would happen. No propulsion. So I went down to the engine room, looked at the engine and shifted it, and I noticed something was very odd. Looked over at the propeller shaft, and there was no propeller shaft. Water was coming into the stern tube, not a lot, but a little bit, and basically it hadn't been leaking for very long. Probably just happened as we started the engine and tried to put it in forward that the shaft came out of the propeller. So anyway, I'm panicking. What to do? I have these wooden, what they call bongs, and went and got a package. I know where they are. I keep a whole assortment of, I actually have 2 packages of those. So I went and got some, and actually pulled some out and measured it to make sure what would fit, and stuck it in there and gave it a tap with my sledgehammer to keep the water from coming in. Thank God the water stopped, the bung held, and what do we do next? So I went up there and informed my son that we have no propeller and no propeller shaft, and we have no way of getting into Carriacou. It is getting kind of late. So what to do? I got on the radio and started doing some pan notifications on channels. I tried 66, 67, 68, 70, 16, and 9, and I got basically no results. I have 2 radios on board, one 25 watt and one 5 watt, and I got no response from any of the radios. So I got my phone out, and we were pretty close to the island at this point. I got my phone out, and I have some contacts previously set up for people inside of Carriacou. And one of them was a guy that runs a dive operation called Lamba Dive. And I called him, and after a few tries, finally got through to him, surprisingly enough. I know he's a very helpful guy, and I've seen him rescue other boats. So anyway, I finally got a hold of him and explained our situation. He had some ideas of some people to contact, and we kept going back and forth. One guy he had to contact basically had no gas in his boat, so he was not able to come and get it. But he was able to call a couple of guys at a local marina, Tyrrell Bay Marina, and they were available to come out and get us. It was getting kind of late, probably 7 or 8 or 9 o'clock right now, and we're basically going back and forth. I was not going to enter this harbor without an engine at night unless I absolutely had to. And basically, these guys came out and got us and towed us into the Terrell Bay Marina. Thank God. So anyway, we made it into the marina about 10 o'clock at night, and everything was fine. Here's the shifter in question. I've replaced this thing 3 times now. I have a method of taking it apart and putting it back together very easily without having to crawl under the boat. But basically it will jam into any position. I've had it jam in reverse, I've had it jam into neutral, and I have no control. But I'd love to replace it, but I don't know what I'd replace it with. Anyway, this is kind of a long video of the boat being hauled at the Terrell Marina. And as you can see, we're lifting it up. It takes a couple minutes to actually see the prop that's hanging out the back. Luckily the prop hit the rudder, so I didn't lose the prop, I didn't lose the shaft. Basically it was just more of an inconvenience. Anytime now. What's that?
You're a lucky guy.
I am?
What is that?
Yeah. As long as the rudder's not damaged and the cutlass bearing's okay.
Yeah.
Here's a picture of the rudder where the shaft actually ran into it. There's a shaft coming out the back. They did have a zinc on it at some point, I noticed, that popped off that should have kept it from coming out. So apparently This is a known hazard with this particular boat and this particular model of boat. Here we are at Sandy Island, just off the coast of Carriacou near Hillsborough. The little boys are swimming to the beach, so at least their vacation wasn't ruined seriously. They got to play with plenty of little fishies. Let me see you. Here we are at True Blue Resort, letting the little boys go swimming in the swimming pool, enjoying themselves. The sail down from Carriacou to Grenada was uneventful, thank God. Looking out at the bay of True Blue Harbor. Here's the little boys at the restaurant enjoying themselves. True Blue Harbor, True Blue Resort.